In today's episode of the Platform Presents podcast, I got a very interesting guest here with me today. I'm with Yassir Semlali, and he's hailing over from the folks over at Orka Technology, specifically talking about Orka Works today. He's a community growth manager, and that's a very interesting angle, right? A lot of marketers out there are telling us, specifically, with the cookieless future, that you need to build more community, you need to be really engaged users. And today we really want to talk about that side of things as well, how Yassir is thinking about community growth and learning a little bit about Orka Works as well. So Yassir, welcome to the show.
Perfect. No, thank you for having me.
Of course, yeah. So maybe give us a quick 360 overview. What is Orka all about in your own words?
Yes. So Orca is on a mission to improve the way the world works. So how we do that, we focus on creating innovative worker tech. So that's, again, providing frontline workers with the tools that they need to find work, onboard, and be paid for the work that they want to do. So Orca has three products. So we have Orca Works. That's a two-sided worker marketplace that allows workers to find work, be onboarded quickly, be paid flexibly. And for the other side of that marketplace, it allows companies to, again, have full transparency over the hiring process. So that's Orca Works. We have Orca Check, which is a vetting service. So that pretty much revolutionizes the way that vetting works, typically within the security industry. It can take a lot of time, but through Orca Check, that speeds up the process. And then we have Orca Pay, which is early wage access. So that allows the workers, employees to withdraw up to 50% of their paycheck before payday. So again, that's given the situation now in terms of where we are economically, that's more topical than ever. So yeah, all three products come together to help us provide innovative worker tech. So that's Orca in a nutshell.
Very, very good. So yeah, maybe tell us a little bit about what would be the typical organization? What's some characteristics of an organization that benefits the most from Orca?
Yeah, so I guess through providing worker tech for Orca Works, for example, typical customers or companies that will use us are mainly security companies at the moment. So they have a lot of issues around transparency, speed, etc. So Orca Works, as I said, is a platform that allows them to be able to manage the hiring process through their platform. As well as the speed of vetting people. So typically security companies, we do have cleaning companies, and again, other companies use Orca Pay to give their employees early wage access as well. So,
and what would you say? How do they learn about Orca? What's their journey looking like in order to get started?
Yeah. So if I focus more on Orca Works, and if I focus on sort of what I do in terms of community growth, typically we're a bit different. If someone is looking for work and finding work in their area, they might typically go on Google and search security jobs near me or whatever. As I said, all this is focused and it is available on our app, our mobile app. So we look at sort of almost mirroring the channel and the services that they use. So something that we've done actually quite recently is sort of create regional landing pages that allows them to see work that's available, almost typical to like a job board. That allows them to select the work that they want, and through that process they can understand what Orca Works is all about in regards to being able to work flexibly, manage their service, and be paid flexibly as well. So it's using those really high intent channels where, again, they are looking to work, trying to mirror the journey that they're used to. And yeah, through our website, it's explaining how we're a bit different and how we can sort of improve the way that they work.
And what would you say, what role does the website play in the journey? You actually alluded to it there for a second. What role does it play in the buyer's journey, you think?
Yeah, definitely. It's so key for us just to explain the benefits of using the technology that we're building, especially for the workers. It's explaining how they can work flexibly, especially with frontline workers. they don't often get the flexibility that they are justified to have. So
Mm-hmm.
for our website, again, we can sort of show and almost lower the thresholds to show them what work is available for them. And again, we can sort of explain how simple it can be to onboard. We explain what that onboarding process looks like and how we're quicker compared to most other businesses and how they onboard. And as well, in terms of their pay, how they can earn flexibly. That's really key, especially during this time. The website really does tell the story of this and gives as much information as possible to the workers coming through.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very good. And now, if you think, I mean, before we sort of you jump into community groups, maybe one last question on the website, like what would you say sort of from your perspective as a marketer? Because typically the folks that we have on the show, they're, you know, the website is an ever evolving piece, right? Like what would you say is a strength of the page versus where do you see even room for further improvement?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think to be fair, we're going through a time where we're recently updating our and are updating our websites for all three products. So typically, the website was just a place which, again, just explained what we do and had a lot of text-heavy information. I guess what's working well is adding faces to our website. You know, really telling the picture through video. That's really helped as well, and we can see that in some of the metrics. Yeah, but it's been a place where the story of how the products can help businesses and workers is presented really clearly, really well, really easy to navigate. I think for all three products, we have to keep in mind our audiences and who's going to use it. Typically, in terms of businesses and especially within the security industry, in terms of workers, often not that tech savvy. So we have to keep everything very, very simple, very easy to use. And yeah, again, use mediums like video to really explain what we're doing clearly.
Very cool. Now let's talk community a little bit. I mean, it's a lot of companies want to build community. Like, what have you found to be is, you know, utterly important for building out a community that works? What is maybe 2 or 3 things that you've noticed over your period as a community growth manager that are really key?
Yeah, there's a few things, especially within the security industry. Uh, there's almost a network there already regionally. I guess what's key, and I mentioned that the word there regionally is being having regional focuses on where we build communities, and leveraging those networks through referrals. That's what is our biggest source organically, which is great. So it's adding rewards to that process as well, which has worked really well. But the stuff that we've actually done in person that's helped build stronger relationships that we have with our workers. So especially in Manchester, we've done open days, and that's allowed us to have that face-to-face time with our workers. They can really understand us. We're again not just an app that's a bit alien to them. They can actually meet the people behind the tech, understand how we work. We can understand more about how they work. Again, it helps with our products and making things a lot more frictionless and better. But again, it just builds relationships. So whenever we have opportunities where we do need workers to work them, they're quick to respond. They're really engaged, and that's worked really really well. And another thing I would say is just as well as providing them with work, that's the main thing that they do use our app for. But it's looking at other ways that we can engage with them and celebrate them. Like we have Worker of the Month. Again, they get celebrated online and they get a reward and a letter from our CEO. All this helps build relationships, keeps engagement, and builds communities. And it's good that we can do this with a regional focus as well. That's the key thing.
And what have you found then in terms of platforms? If you have that regional focus, like what's the technology support that you would use to sort of, you know, run the community on?
Yeah, so we use a few things. We interact with our community using Intercom. That's embedded in the app, and that's how we communicate using the different outbound ways that we can do that with them. We do have a sort of a big data platform, Looker. Again, that provides us with a lot more information that we can really identify trends, react to them, and yeah, to sort of build reports and build heat maps and stuff like that, where we can, yeah, that's such a cool platform to use, and glad that we have it. So.
Very cool. I want to switch gears a little bit, right? We talked about the product, we talked about growth a little bit, the channels. Now I'd like to talk a little bit about your journey as a community growth marketer. So yeah, where do you personally educate yourself, right, on community growth? Because it's maybe in comparison a relatively fresh topic, right? And there's a lot of new ideas and strategies on that out there. Like, where do you find great information on that?
Yeah, there's a few places, especially when I started the role. So I've been in the role for coming up to a year now. When I first moved into the role, our CEO, he's got a really good culture of sharing knowledge across the business. He actually brought a book called The Cold Start Problem by Henry Chen, which is such a detailed book and so relevant for what we're doing in terms of building a marketplace and especially community. So reading books, that's been really helpful. Podcasts, listen to other community growth people, and especially marketplace growth managers as well. Like that's been so interesting for me to sort of pick that up. And something that I've been doing recently is just being on LinkedIn a bit more. Reaching out to people that who come across as experts and jumping on Zoom calls with them. Speaking to them about some of the problems that I go through and challenges that I want to solve and get and come across. And those three places have been really helpful. Books, podcasts, and LinkedIn. That's where I pick up.
Very cool. Yeah, as we're slowly getting towards the end of the interview, I would have one last quick question, which would be if today, would be your very first day, right? Starting as a community growth manager. You mentioned it's about a year ago. Like, what's the one advice you would give yourself, for anybody, maybe for yourself, but also then helpful for anybody who starts in this type of role?
Yeah, it's a difficult one. I'd probably say I would probably feel more comfortable in regards to what I was doing. I think when I first went into the role, I probably had a bit of imposter syndrome and probably didn't feel comfortable with what I was actually doing. Now I'm in a place where I feel comfortable about even some of the mistakes that happen. It's something that I understand why, and just the importance of understanding why and not trying to do the right thing all the time. So I guess, just feeling more comfortable with taking a bit more risk. That's something that I wish I would do earlier in my role.
Very cool. Yassir, thanks a lot for joining and being a guest on Pathfinder Presents. I want to give you the very last word. If somebody would be forgetting all that we discussed about Orka today, what's the one thing people should remember?
Yeah, I think the one thing that they should remember about Orka is that we're trying to become the forefront of worker tech. So worker tech is quite a new, unexplored area in terms of tech sectors. So if we can be remembered as the pioneers and the company that's at the forefront of that, then that'll be really exciting.
Very cool. Thanks a lot for being a guest on Pathfinder Presents.
Perfect. Thank you.